Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new video on the 3D Critic channel. Today I'm going to give you guys my performance review on the Jordan Luka .77s. This is an outdoor specific version and a more budget friendly version to the Luka 4s, which came out not too long ago and I reviewed the week before. And it goes at a budget price of $100, so I was curious to see how well this stacks up with the regular Luka 4s and if they're any better or are they any worse regardless of what you're getting with the shoe. So as far as retail goes, they are going for a budget friendly price of $100 and they're available on Nike.com as well as on Dick's Sporting Goods. So if you guys are interested, I will leave a link in the description box below. Now for the try-on experience, they are a little tight at first, especially here on the midfoot. You do have to open up the laces just to get your foot inside the shoe. However, once you break in the materials over time, it starts to get pretty easy to put on and pretty easy to take off. So with a little bit of break-in time, it gets easier as the break-in time materials go on. For sizing, going true to size is the best option. For me, going true to size, the length of the shoe is pretty much perfect and you're basically stubbing the toe box at the very end of the shoe. So the length of the shoe is pretty much perfect, as well as the width feeling nice and snug. So if you want a nice snug fit, I would go true to size. If you want a more relaxed fit, I'll probably go up a half size. For narrow footage, you should be fine going true to size, while for wide footage, you might need to go up a half size considering the snug fit that you're going to get in the shoe. Now for the traction pattern itself, you're going to get a rubber outsole on the outer rim of the outsole itself with a translucent section here in the middle with a basic overall multi-directional traction pattern. And as far as how it grips, on a clean court, it actually has pretty good grip. However, on dusty courts, it does pick up a good bit of dust and you do need to frequently wipe it down because it does pick up quite quickly and consistently. So it was kind of annoying to deal with. If you wipe them down, it's pretty easy and straightforward. And as far as lateral movements go, it has very good grip going side to side on clean courts, but once it picked up dust, it did start to slide a good bit. So it will suffer when it comes to performance when you're doing lateral movements. Vertically, it didn't get affected as much. On hard stops, they felt really good, whether it was dusty or clean. So you're going to have some consistency when you are trying to stop on a dime, but it does slide a little bit when you're trying to get a quick first step, such as push-offs. So you get good get-ups on a clean court, but you do slide a little bit once dust is present on the court. And as far as durability goes, since this is a outdoor specific shoe, the rubber is quite hard on this shoe and it is stamped inwards, so you're going to have some very nice durability. Basically in the higher areas, it basically smooths out the gritty layer that you get on the outsole itself, but other than that, they are very durable and in turn very good for outdoor use because of the hard rubber itself that you're going to get. So at the end of the day, it is pretty good on a clean court when it comes to grip, but it is impacted by dust in some areas, and the wear and tear on it is pretty solid and very solid for outdoor use, considered it is an outdoor specific shoe. Now for the cushioning setup itself, you're going to get a full-length Phylon midsole as well as the same air zoom unit that you get in the Luka 4s, which is bottom loaded and it's the rectangular shape. And you also get an iso plate here that is bottom loaded in the midfoot and it extends all the way into the forefoot, which you can see right here. And as far as how it feels, they feel identical when it comes to the Luka 4s in my opinion, especially in the forefoot. I found them to be very responsive and had really good bounce as well. With the shank in the midfoot, it gives it a nice lively feel under your foot. And as far as the heel, they are a little firm to start off because it is an injected Phylon. However, since there are holes punched in the midsole, in the back half of the shoe, as you break it in over time, it starts to actually feel quite forgiving. Not as much as the level of the Cushline that you get in the Luka 4s, but they do feel pretty comfortable nonetheless. And as you break it in, you get really nice compression in the heel, which results in very nice impact protection as well when it comes to heel strikes. So very good when it comes to heel cushioning. The more you break it in, it starts to feel more comfortable over time. And as far as fluidity goes, they are very fluid. The heel to toe transitions are pretty smooth, and with the shank combined with the zoom unit, it has a pretty snappy feel, so you're able to go up and down the court pretty easily in these and pretty fast as well. So as far as cushioning goes, they are a little similar to the Luka 4s in my opinion, but I find the Luka 4s to be a little bit more forgiving and quite feel like a pillow, while this feels a little firm and it feels soft, but not as soft as the Cushline foam in my opinion. Now diving into the materials in this is more focusedly based on having a rugged build, especially since this is an outdoor specific shoe. So firstly, for the materials, you do get this synthetic nubuck looking material here in the forefoot, and it extends into the lace line here on both sides of the lace line. And as you move into the midfoot, you get this Leno weave upper on the lateral and medial side of the shoe, and it extends into the back half of the shoe with a little bit more rugged backing here in the back, with a little bit more of the synthetic suede that you get here in the back. For the tongue itself, there is a open styled mesh material with a little bit of the suede material here on the top with a decent amount of padding, basically the same as the Luka 4s in my opinion. The padding in the ankle is very minimal, as well as the padding that you get here in the heel as well. So at the end of the day, when it comes to how it feels, they're borderline comfortable. The Nubuck does feel nice in the forefoot with decent flexibility, so you're going to have some very nice flexibility here in the forefoot. The padding on the tongue is on par, like I said earlier, to the Luka 4s, so it feels pretty good, and I didn't experience any lace irritation throughout the midfoot as well. So pretty nice and very forgiving at the end of the day. The padding in the back is very minimal around the ankle and in the heel, so it was borderline comfortable and just got the job done when it comes to comfort in the heel. Aesthetically, it is a very simplistic shoe in terms of the design, but it does remind me of a couple of shoes that I've tried a couple years back, such as the Leno weave that you get is basically the same material that you get in the Jordan 37s, and the isoplate that you get here in the midsole here in the forefoot reminds me of the isoplate that you get in the Jordan 38s with the X-bar that you get, and you get the little plastic that you get here in the forefoot. So that reminded me of the 38s and 37s at the same time. So as far as how the shoe looks, it's a very simplistic design with a basic build of materials meant for outdoor use, and they feel borderline comfortable at the end of the day, especially with the forefoot being nice, midfoot being nice and padded compared to the Luka 4s, but it is borderline comfortable in the heel as well. Now, as far as the lockdown is concerned, it is pretty good, and in my opinion, it is slightly better than the Luka 4s in my opinion. Firstly, in the forefoot, because of the nice snug fit that you get, you don't experience any sliding laterally or vertically, which I experienced in the Luka 4s firsthand because it was a more roomier fit. But in this, it is slightly more snug, and you don't experience any sliding laterally or vertically, so that is an improvement. And the same goes for the midfoot. The tongue is not independent, it's a semi-gusseted tongue, so you're going to have a better fit when it comes to the midfoot, and the basic lacing system is overall nice and tight, so you're going to have a nice tight seal when it comes to the midfoot. In the heel, you do get a good bit of heel slippage because the padding in the back is quite minimal, and you do feel it sliding every now and then, but it has decent sculpting, and it makes sure it doesn't come out when you are playing. So it's just borderline okay when it comes to the heel lockdown, but the rest of the shoe is pretty good when it comes to the forefoot and the midfoot. And honestly, in my opinion, it is better than I thought it was going to be, with slightly better job when it comes to the Luka 4s in my opinion, especially in the forefoot, but you do suffer a little bit of heel slippage in the heel. And last but not least, when it comes to support, it's actually pretty good, but it can be a little unstable at times from my experience in certain areas, what I will get to in a second. Firstly, when it comes to lateral support, you do sit within the midsole throughout the shoe, and you do get extra containment from the isoplate that you get here in the forefoot, along with a very little outrigger here for some extra containment. In the midfoot, there isn't much. The midsole does contain you a little bit, but it does tend to cave in quite easily, so you're going to have a little bit of instability in the midfoot, but it does get beefier with the back material that you get in the heel, and you also get an internal heel counter to give it some nice stability here in the heel. For torsional support, it is pretty good. The shank plate in the midfoot gives the shoe pretty much, in my opinion, better balance compared to the Luka 4s, because it is in the midfoot compared to the Luka 4s where it was in the forefoot and it was solely focused in the forefoot. So in my opinion, in the midfoot, it gives you more balanced stability compared to the Luka 4s where it was focused in the forefoot. The base is nice and flat, giving you a nice stable platform to land on, but it is quite narrow, so there isn't a lot of surface area to land on, which can increase the likelihood of ankle rolls, which I did run into, unfortunately, considering that the outrigger is very little, so there is like not too much to grab when it comes to the stability of the lateral containment. And when it comes to footwork, if you are a little careless with your footwork, it will tend to be a little tippy, and it will also lead to the likelihood of rolling your ankle that way. So that was one issue that I came across. It is a little narrow, and you don't have that much surface area to land on. So if you land on someone's foot, it will increase the likelihood of rolling your ankle. So that was like the only issue that I had. But everything else about it, it is pretty stable, and in my opinion, a little bit more stable compared to the Luka 4s in my opinion. So as far as support, it's pretty good for what you get. Very nice and balanced inside the shoe with decent containment when it comes to lateral stability, and it has better balance in my opinion compared to the Luka 4s. So to sum it up for you guys, this is a very nice shoe at a budget-friendly price. In my opinion, I had a very good time with these. It was very on par with the Luka 4s in my opinion in many aspects, especially with the traction. While it is on a clean court, it is very comparable to it, but in the Luka 4s you do get a little bit more consistency when it comes to clean and dusty courts. The cushioning feels very similar when it comes to the forefoot cushioning, but it is a little bit more forgiving in the 4s compared to these. It does break in over time and it starts to feel a little bit more comfortable, but the Luka 4s in my opinion are a little bit more forgiving. The materials, they are more well built in my opinion, and it is designed for outdoor use, so you're going to get a little bit more rigidity compared to the textiles that you get in the Luka 4s. And the lockdown is a little bit better. in the .77s compared to the Luka 4s. And the support, it gives you an overall better balance, especially with the midfoot shank that you get compared to the forefoot shank that you get in the Luka 4s. So there's a lot to choose from when it comes to the .77s and the Luka 4s. If you want a more budget friendly option when it comes to Luka's line, I would go with these. If you want the main line, you go with the Luka 4s. You do get better traction when it comes to consistency, and the cushioning itself is a little bit more forgiving. But if you want something more better when it comes to lockdown and support in that matter, I would go with these. So it's a very solid budget option if you are on a budget. So at the end of the day, it's a very solid shoe, and it's pickers be choosers kind of deal compared to the Luka 4s and the .77s in my opinion. Thank you guys for watching this video. This has been my performance review on the Luka .77s. Leave a like if you enjoyed this video, and comment down below on which shoe you think is better out of the Luka 4s and the .77s. I'd like to know your thoughts as well as any other questions that you might have. If you'd like to stay up to date with future videos that I'll be posting, hit the subscribe button down below. It'll greatly support the channel as well. And if you do want to see my review on the Luka 4s, I will leave it on the corner of the screen right here. And if you'd like to follow me on social media, all of that information will be in the description box below. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day. I hope this was beneficial to you guys. And until next time, keep shooting.